back at Snetterton today for a practice. Everything was going okay, but we had some rain. The track got fairly slippy. I thought it had dried enough. I came out of Williams and accelerated just slightly too hard and spun, and then the back of the car went into the infield barrier. So not great, but luckily not much damage, as you can see, just a bit of minor damage to the car.
Here we are, just having come out of Murray's, coming up the start-finish straight. Nothing much to tell here. I tried to practice staying over against the pit wall, as that's thought to be the given thing that you do. Now, Rich is here. I found that I was going into it far too slowly, and I actually gained a second between the start of Rich's and just coming into this braking zone here. So that was a big gain. This is a tricky little one. If you accelerate too fast, you either wash out and go onto the grass, or the back steps out. So that was quite nice there. Palmer, this left-hander, you can gain quite a lot of time if you can just get the line right and really push it through there. We had understeer on the car, and I'm going to talk to the team about that on Sunday. So this Agostini, it's my nemesis. I've tried all sorts of lines. I'm currently doing the Scott Mansell line, which is basically go to the middle of the track and then get the car to rotate. That seems to work. Hamilton, in my own car, I was going through here flat out. In this one I had to lift because of the understeer. This is Oggie's, not much to tell here. Just in this car I tend to run just round the outside. Now here I was onto the green concrete there on the left. This was a tip given to me by young Matthew Highcock, who we were talking about our laps, and he said, oh, you should try and get out onto the green and that will give you a better entry into that corner, and it did seem good. So coming down here I actually get it into 5th gear, as you've probably just seen, then a brake here, change down to 4th, across the track, stay in 4th, and it's a rather quick downshift to 3rd, and then throw it into Nelson. That worked really well. I seem to be doing really well through there. Bomb hole again, I had to lift on exit. You can see I'm coming right up to the edge of the track, and I don't have to lift in my car. Coram is just a matter of just keeping it balanced. As you feel the car's gradually shifting around, you have to ease off the throttle. Slowly, very gently ease up, coming into Murray's. I ran a bit wide there, but I didn't trip the sensor, which was good. And then it's just the run for the line, which seems to take forever. Okay, and there it is, 2:32.02. I think my best last year was a 2:34, but I did that in practice and I didn't really have a good record of it. Let's take a look at the telemetry. I've loaded up the usual couple of graphs. This is, as it says, GPS speed. I don't use ECU speed because the rolling diameter of the tyres means that it's inaccurate. So we're using GPS speed here and time compare. And the two plots I have loaded, Sam, who did a 2:29.803, stunning, really good. He's a really good driver. And then my own, and we're looking at the differences where I'm losing time. So the first place I'm losing time, as you can see, if I drag this across here, and you look down here, it's Rich's, the turn 1, first right-hander. Now I've been increasing my speed around there, but obviously I need to get some more time. If I compare my line to Sam's, that one is Sam's line. There's a slight inaccuracy in the GPS, so you can see that it slightly goes beyond the boundaries of the track, and I'm sure that wasn't true. But you can see actually the lines we're taking around the corner, bearing in mind the inaccuracies and different position of the data logger in the car and things like that. It looks to me as though we're both doing the same line around the corner, so I don't have a problem with that. It's just that I just need to carry more speed through there. And I know I'm blaming the tyres, but thinking back, our tyres on the front of the car were very old and very scrubbed. And it's not so much the scrubbing, because it was dry, so they could still be quite grippy, but if you put them through too many heat cycles, they start to break down a bit. And both myself and David, who was driving in the car, same car, we both said the car is understeering quite a lot. So I think if I had have tried to go through there faster, I probably would have ended up coming off the side of the track. But anyway, going round Montreal, there's a hairpin just here, you can see over here. Let's make that a bit bigger actually, see if we can, because that's quite useful to be able to see it. That's, I mean, different apexes by the looks of things, you know, different slowest points, but pretty much the same actually. And in fact, I come out slightly faster. Then you come into Palmer, this one here, you can see I'm much slower, and I was getting really severe understeer coming out of there. And so I think with something a bit more grippy on the front, I probably could have done a bit better. I should have explained Sam was in a different car. Yeah, he, you know, aside from the fact he's a much better driver than me, he wasn't suffering the same problems with understeer. Then we're pretty much the same actually, and what was quite nice is we're pretty much the same round Agostini, and that really, as I said earlier in the video, that's my nemesis, Agostini. Now this is another point where you can see the effect of the tyres, because when I was practicing in my own car last week, I was going flat out through Williams, and you can see I'm having to lift because otherwise I'd just come off the side of the track. Then we're pretty even. He's done a better job round Williams, but I did actually exceed track limits. I got a track limit warning for running wide at Williams again, because I'm having to, you know, it's washing out too much on the front end. Now this is actually telling. Now this is the first point where I would accept he's, you know, this is he's doing a much better job here. So I'm braking too soon and too hard into the complex, into the Brundle-Nelson complex. I thought I was doing a pretty good job, but you can see I've lost, you know, you look at the time loss there, I'm losing quite a bit of time there. I'm going from 1.1 down to 1.7, so I'm losing half a second just through that first piece. And then I'm coming out of, I'm a bit slower into Nelson, into the second part of the corner. So looking over here on the map, you can see the left is Brundle, the right is Nelson. I'm a bit slower coming out. Then pretty much even, but he's hanging on in there as he comes round Coram, and I'm coming off a bit. Now I'm trying to remember, I think it was understeering, I mean through Bombhole. We've not covered Bombhole, have we? Where's Bombhole? That must be there, mustn't it? Yeah. As you can see, I had to do a slight lift through Bombhole, otherwise I would come off the side of the track. Round Coram, I think I did better laps around Coram, so that may just be me not doing a very good job round there. And then everything else is pretty much the same. I obviously seem to come out of, I don't know what's happened here. I seem to have lost a bit of time in this final bit coming up the start-finish straight, but not too dreadful. I suppose the only saving grace for me is that actually I seem to be going faster on some parts of the infield section. But yeah, I mean, plenty of places for me to improve. So we'll see what happens in the race.